Good foggy Portland afternoon. It's supposed to be snowing, but it was fake weather. So we talk more about relational data, relational information, relationships maybe is tied in there because you have to define the relationships to better understand the relationships. But pieces of relational data, little packets of information you pick up about something else next to you. You've heard the word photon, but you don't see a photon. You see packets of photons. You might see a photon in your dreams, but you see packets of photons. They're typically described as a quantum sum somehow because that's how scientists would speak to it. So that's a bit of relational data that you might or might not even care about. What kind of flour to use in baking bread? You can make it out of most any flour, but it might not be what you expected it to be. Soft relational data, soft relational information. And then putting it back together into some coherent piece of engineering, let's say from my perspective. Building on what the people next to you know and have done already and connecting those things and making them work or talk better. That was kind of the power of software versus hardware. The hardware enabled us to do these things, and then the software let us run free with it. Or pay for video games. So these relational data sets, how big are they? Well, they sit in places called data farms. They spit out historical records that go into vaults in places, things like Iron Mountain and other places across the country to be stored for a longer time. Some of them get digitized. So this relational information, what you and I know, big pieces of it are out there, but seeing it, visualizing it, getting to it requires tools, visualization tools. Your games, your gaming things are visualization tools of an abstract place that doesn't exist, but in software. From a pure analytics point of view, it's not very intelligent software. Complicated, that doesn't mean intelligent or imply intelligence either. So relational databases, where do they sit? I signed a federal contract because of HIPAA laws requiring data security, that I was responsible for data transfers from CDC and some other big acronyms out there to the state of Oregon for analysis. They were specific data sets, what we were allowed and able to be aware of for two reasons. This is health privacy information, and that is respected at some level within the profession, but it is so much data, it would be ridiculous to put that on the state. We don't need the extra state. Now, would it be nice to know downwind information from something from the next state? Maybe. That's big data, big tools to access it. So now you get into big data spaces, and where are they? They reside in data warehouses. A whole nother conversation and industry that I got to sit in meetings about. Pass little yellow sticky notes to managers and executives. And it was long ago. It's evolved since then. So, somewhere out there in a storage subsystem is a piece of data related to something else out there in another storage subsystem. For my automotive employer, it was every vehicle produced and every owner of record that had that car has that car currently for one manufacturer. I had a staff of professionals, direct reports to my client, second reports to me, that analyze this data using tools that cost a fortune on a desktop, a high-end desktop, something gaming PC people dream of. And maybe at night it turns into that dream PC. So relational information about how this world works, the rest of the world, not your community. I challenge you, go into your cupboard and identify, look at the cans on your shelves and what state or what country or what corporation they're from. It's related to how round and big the earth is and how supply chains help feed 7 billion people on this planet now. We are amazing, but not gods.